Hello, I'm still here, top of Chertsey, Primark, Bold Street End on this very busy, noisy Thursday afternoon. Really is a busy day, really is a noisy day. Does anyone really believe Universal Scousers, they have our children and grandchildren's welfare and long-term interests at heart? Does anyone really believe that? Does anyone believe those who culturally changed the East End of London decades ago, they had their Cockney host children and grandchildren welfare and long-term interests at heart? Does anyone believe that? You'd have to be, like I've said, very, very naive to believe that, ladies and gentlemen. They don't give a monkeys about our children or grandchildren. Okay, sir, right? In fact, they're laughing at us like they laughed at their Cockney hosts, who welcomed them with open arms. Well, I wouldn't say open arms, but welcomed them. And what happened? They dispossessed them of their unique, once proud East End of London. That's what they did. So anyone believes Universal Scousers coming here somehow have got our children grandchildren's welfare and long-term interests involved. Sorry to disappoint you, but they haven't. They have their own culture, people. They have their long-term interests at heart. Not their Scouse hosts, not their Brummie hosts, not their Cockney hosts, right? You see, you've got to ask yourself this. Why would they have our children and grandchildren's best interests at heart? Why would they? Well, they wouldn't. Why would they be champions of Scouse pride or history and heritage? Well, they wouldn't. Why would they? That's what I'm saying. That's what you've got to ask yourself. Why would they? Well, they wouldn't, and they don't, right? Have their own interests at heart. They don't have anyone else's except their own, right? You'd have to be very naive to believe that Universal Scousers, that's the vast majority who are coming into our glorious city, they have our children and grandchildren's welfare, long-term interests at heart. You'd have to be mad to believe that, right? I don't believe the good people of Liverpool do believe it. They're beginning to now see and understand what is happening. What's happening here now, ladies and gentlemen, has already played out in places like the East End of London and many other unique parts, once unique parts of the country, right? It's already been played out there. They're playing it out here now, and we know the end result. As I've said, being in possession, metaphorically speaking, of a crystal ball, we know what's on the way, how it unfolds, and the end result. The good people of the East End of London weren't in possession of a crystal ball, metaphorically speaking. They didn't know how all this was going to unfold, and they didn't know the end result until it was too late, right? Whereas here, we have a privilege they weren't blessed with. We know the end result and we know what's on the way. We see it sinking roots here now. So, given what we know, we'd be foolish to ignore the writing on the wall. Like I've said, they weren't in possession, metaphorically speaking, of a crystal ball. We are, ladies and gentlemen. And so that's why we must take full advantage of this. Our city's long-term future is at stake. Our children and grandchildren's long-term welfare is at stake. The existence of our city as a Scouse one is at stake. Everything is. Everything that we are as Scousers, right? Our past, our future, everything. We don't stop this. We will go the same way the Cockneys went, the East End of London. Right? No more Cockney sparrows fly over the East End of London or London in general, and we all know why. Not because of Joe Owens, because of cultural change. Right? And like I've said before, there's that many different nationalities, cultures coming into the city. We're going to end up like Hare Hills in Leeds, cultural chaos, right? This has to stop. It must be opposed, ladies and gentlemen, because if it's not, like I've said, long term, there's only one place this can take us, right? Down the same road the East End of London went. That no longer exists as a Cockney community. Doesn't exist anymore. EastEnders, the soap, that's a distortion, right? That's not the reality there. That's a distortion. So, as I've said, that's why we must oppose further cultural change, ladies and gentlemen. Our children and grandchildren will curse us. We pass this down to them. We don't have the right. Neither these reckless politicians have the right. Like I've said, and I'll say again, does anyone believe universal Scousers have our Scouse history, heritage, our children and grandchildren's welfare and long-term future at heart? You'd have to be mad to believe that, or very, very naive, to say the least. They're laughing at us, ladies and gentlemen, right? They're laughing at us, that's what they're doing. And you can't blame them, right? These reckless politicians are doing this to us. It hurts me to say they're laughing at us, but they are. They are laughing at us. And it's because of these reckless politicians. They're to blame, ladies and gentlemen. Come election time, you've got to vote them out. Let's knock the smirks off the faces, right? This is our city. Belongs to our children, grandchildren, all those amazing Scousers yet to be on. Okay, lads, take care, sir. Thank you. Right, loads of support, brilliant. But like I say, I don't come down here, ladies and gentlemen, because I've got nothing else to do. There's plenty of things I could be doing. I have to come down here, because if I don't, then what's going to happen? These politicians will get away with what they're allowing to happen to our city, which is an outrage, right? This is our city, ladies and gentlemen. No one else's. The East End of London belonged to the Cockneys. It doesn't now. You know who it belongs to. Therefore, we must oppose further cultural change. Leave this too long, ladies and gentlemen. Our city's going to be in big trouble. Address it now, and we can stop further cultural change. We can keep our city a Scouse one, right? Leave it till it's like the East End of London, many other places. There's no changing this back. There's no cultural rewind button. Like I've said before, there is no cultural rewind button, ladies and gentlemen. It's lost, it's gone forever. All those who love their city, which will be the vast majority, the good people of Liverpool, need to now realise what is under threat here, what's at stake. These reckless politicians calling themselves Scousers want to be ashamed of themselves. How can you be a Scouser and be for what's happening to our city? How? It's the mutually exclusive cultural change and Scouse pride. You can't have both. You're either for one or the other. You see, cultural change, right, that replaces Scouse pride like it did Cockney pride, Brummie pride. There isn't a fair play here, right? That's not how cultural change works. You all know how it works, ladies and gentlemen, right? Like I say, come election time, find a candidate, reliable, credible, opposed to further cultural change, and give them your vote. Short of that, ladies and gentlemen, cultural change will sweep across our glorious city, changing it forever. Remember, say no to cultural change, yes to Scouse pride. Shout it out loud, Scouts and proud. Okay, thank you.